We all want to build our own e-commerce businesses so that ultimately we can sell them. Ultimately, that is the goal that we all have for our e-commerce businesses. Build them up, and then at some point in the future, we look to sell them, hopefully for a substantial amount of money. But how much is an Amazon business worth? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you, but more importantly, I'm also going to show you how you can very, very simply increase the value of your Amazon business by 2 times. And I'm also going to give you some really good pointers about how you can deal with business brokers and exactly what they're looking for when it comes to actually valuing your business. Now, if you like this kind of content where I'm showing you exactly how to make muchos cashola within your own e-commerce business, then consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I post a new video every single day about something to do with building and making money online. And also, it means the world to me if you gave this video a little thumbs up. It really, really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you've got something you want me to talk about, post it below in the comments and I'll be sure to get to it. With that being said, let's get into it. This is something else that we were talking about on Saturday with the lovely, lovely ladies that were on that call with me for my product sourcing mastery program. I used to own, funny stories about this, which we can tell you at another time. I used to own a fairly large business brokerage in Sydney, and our shtick was I had 11 kick-ass folks who were business brokers working for me, and then my back office and all that kind of shit. And we had a big office, and my shtick was we would basically look to help people in the UK leave the UK and move to Australia. And one way you could do that, I don't know if it's still around, but back then, was by spending over $250,000 Aussie dollars on a business. Okay, so that was a visa that you could get, and then that visa would entitle you to residence after 5 years. Okay, so it's like a tried and tested way of getting into Australia. Shitloads of people, of course, want to move to Australia because Australia is freaking awesome. Why wouldn't you want to move there from cold, awful Britain? And so we as a business brokerage did really frigging well. I sold that business brokerage. The people that bought it promptly screwed it up because they thought my marketing was a bit too blah, garish, and it was, but it worked. Anyway, so business buying is something I know a lot about, as is business selling. So it was extremely interesting for me to see how much money is coming into the Amazon FBA space from private equity to create something called Rollup Funds. And what a Rollup Fund is, it's a entity that buys heaps and heaps and heaps of businesses within a specific niche. So who is that dude who had ABC childcare centers? Eddie something or other. He had a roll-up fund. He was buying up these childcare centers, putting them under his brand. He overextended in Australia and went bankrupt, and he lives in Canada now. But it's that kind of principle, okay? So shitloads of money coming into Australia and also into the USA for roll-up funds. This is Perch. They just raised 775 million, and Thrasio, who also did 750 million, plus a load of others. And I reckon every week I get approached by a company like Thrasio, although they haven't actually, they personally haven't approached me, but other companies who are doing this too, asking me to tell you as an Aussie online entrepreneur to see if you want to sell your business to them, okay? Now, that tells us that the Amazon FBA space is hot for businesses. And the reason for that is that most folks have realized now that this is the new high street. So previously where you would go to Westfields Mall and you would kind of go through the mall and go shopping there. And so you would try and secure some real estate in Westfields Mall, and that would be very valuable real estate, okay? That's not the case anymore. Now what the case is, the real estate is virtual in the form of a ranking on Amazon. So that is the new virtual real estate. So these companies are buying up Amazon businesses as fast as they possibly can to roll them into a big fund, and then they will list the fund on the stock market and make a shitload of money from doing it. So that's the play, all right? So what the hell does that all mean for us? Well, what I put together for you is, and to find it, I'm going to give you a link, but if you're watching the recording, here's how you find it. So AOE resources and cool stuff, that link just there, top, go there. That will bring you here where the fantabulous Kate Ingham has got the very, very first video, which you should watch before you watch anything else. You should watch that. It's a really great video from Kate. Anyway, so here's the link. Follow this link to get all sorts of cool stuff. That's where I put brand new stuff. This is where I put this. Now, I'm going to hopefully, let me just pause my screen, make sure I've shared this with you. I'm going to give you a link for this, but I'm going to teach you, anyone with the link can view, copy link, teach you how to value your business. Send to all. I love Google Docs, they're bloody awesome. So, how's a business valued? It's actually pretty simple. There's a couple of different ways of valuing it, but probably the easiest way is seller's discretionary earnings, SDE, seller's discretionary earnings, okay? And what that typically means is the amount of money the seller makes after most things relative and related to the business have been paid. So it's not quite gross profit. The technical term for it is EBIT. EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, and then the next level of that is EBITDA, earnings before interest and tax, depreciation and amortization, okay? But these Amazon businesses typically don't do depreciation, they typically don't do amortization. Anyway, so that's how these Amazon businesses get valued by these companies like Thrasio and companies like that, okay? And it's normally about 3 times the profit margin of the business. But what most people don't realize, and the reason why I like using SDE, seller's discretionary earnings, to value a business is because, as I put here for you, you can add things back in. So if you are paying yourself a wage, then that should get added back into the discretionary earnings of the business. If you pay yourself health insurance, for instance, something like that, that also gets put back in. So it's all the things that would no longer need to get paid because you're paying them to yourself as a discretionary income for yourself. You can add those back into your final price or final figure that you would then multiply by 3 to get a final selling price of your business. Okay, so that tends to be how it works. Most businesses, that's where you want to go to as far as getting a multiple of them. And 3 times is a typical multiple. Now, how do you get a greater multiple than 3? That comes down to 2 important things. Systemization is the first important thing. So if your business is well documented and well systemized, normally that will add another multiple on. So instead of getting 3 as your multiple, so let's say your after your profit and your SDE is, I don't know, $100,000, just for ease of maths. So instead of being 300 to sell your business, it's now 400,000 for your business. So that's one way to increase the value. The other way is by having a team that is trained to do shit in your business so that you don't have to do the shit in your business, okay? And that will give you, normally that gives you another multiple as well. So you get to 5 by doing those 2 things, okay? So now you get to $500,000 instead of $300,000. That's very, very normal in the business brokerage world for that kind of multiples to be operated. Because what you end up doing when you have that in place is you end up being able to sell your business to a different person. So if you've not got any systems and you don't have any employees, then really what you're selling is a job. That's really what you're selling to somebody that wants to buy a job. Heaps of people want to buy a job. Heaps of people want to buy a job. Look at franchises and how well they sell, okay? Heaps of people want to buy a job. But if you've got those things in place, it's systemized, and you've got a team in place, you get to sell it to an investor. And an investor will give you a lot more money for your business because he doesn't have to be in it to run it. And so for him to make 20% per annum on his money that he's invested, he's super, super happy with that. That's a great return on his investment if it's a passive investment for him, okay? Keep in mind the stock market typically makes 12%. So if you can show him he can make 20% with your business and he won't have to work in it, that's a great deal for him. Hope that makes sense. My wife and I used to have early child education, and Eddie and his wife were running with other consultants. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Eddie Groves, thank you for that. He was the darling of the business world for a long, long time, Eddie Groves. I idolized him as well. He was one of my that's really cool what he's done. At that time, I had my own Rollup Fund and we were doing something similar but in another space. I tried to meet him so I could go and talk to him. Anyway, so how the mighty they fell. That's an interesting story of his. That was a video from my regular Monday night Q&A session where myself and the members of the Aussie online entrepreneurs, we all get online and they ask me questions and I answer them for them, and I do that all live, and then I take that and post it onto my YouTube channel. So if you've enjoyed that video, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every single day. And if you want to find out more about joining the Aussie online entrepreneurs, over 2,000 members and growing, we're the fastest growing e-commerce community here in Australia, and our members have made sales of over $50 million. If you'd like to find out more, get yourself off to www.aussieonlineentrepreneurs.com.au. See you next time. Bye.